Tests on bitumen to check quality and properties for pavement. Ductility test, flash and fire point test, float test, loss on heating test, penetration test, softening point test, specific gravity test, viscosity test and water content test. Ductility tests on bitumen. The property of bitumen which allows it to undergo deformation or elongation is called ductility of bitumen. The ductility of bitumen is measured by the distance in centimeter to which the bitumen sample will elongate before breaking when it is pulled by standard specimen at specified speed and temperature. Firstly, the bitumen sample is heated to 75 to 100 degrees centigrade and melted completely. This is poured into the assembled mold which is placed on the brass plate. To prevent sticking, the mold and plate are coated with glycerin and dextrin. After filling the mold, placed it in room temperature for 30 to 40 minutes and then placed it in water for 30 minutes. Then take it out and cut the excess amount of bitumen with the help of hot knife and label the surface. Then place the whole assembly in a water bath of ductility machine for 85 to 95 minutes. Then detach the brass plate and the hooks of the mold are fixed to machine and operate the machine. The machine pulls the two clips of the mold horizontally and then bitumen elongates. The distance up to the point of breaking from the starting point is noted as ductility value of bitumen. The minimum value should be 75 cm. Flash and fire point test on bitumen. Flash point of bitumen is defined as the point of lowest temperature at which bitumen catches vapors of test flame and fires it in the form of a flash. Fire point of bitumen is defined as the point of lowest temperature at which the bitumen ignites and burns at least for 5 seconds under specific condition of test. Flash and fire point test helps to control fire accidents in bitumen coated areas. By this test we can decide the bitumen grade with respect to temperature for particular areas of high temperature. Float tests on bitumen. Float test is used to determine the consistency of bitumen, but we generally use penetration test and viscosity test to find the consistency of bitumen except for certain range of consistencies. The float test apparatus consists of aluminum float and brass collars. These collars are filled with melted bitumen sample and cooled to 5 degrees centigrade and then attached them into aluminum floats, and this assembly is placed in water bath at a temperature of 50 degrees centigrade. Note down the time in seconds from the instant the float is put on the water bath until the water breaks the material and enters the float. Loss on heating test on bitumen. When the bitumen is heated, water content present in the bitumen is evaporated and bitumen becomes brittle, which can be damaged easily. So to know the amount of loss, we will perform this test. In this test, take the bitumen sample and note down its weight up to 0.01 gram, accuracy at room temperature. Then place the sample in oven and heat it for 5 hours at 163 degrees centigrade. After that, take out the sample and cool it to room temperature and take the weight to 0.01 gram accuracy and note down the value. Then for the two values of weight before and after heating, we can compute the loss of mass. This loss should be less than 5% of total weight, otherwise it is not preferred for construction. Penetration test on bitumen. The penetration value of bitumen is measured by distance in tenths of mm that a standard needle would penetrate vertically into bitumen sample under standard conditions of test. By this test we can determine the hardness or softness value of bitumen. In this test, first heat the bitumen above its softening point and pour it into a container of depth at least 15 mm. Bitumen should be stirred wisely to remove air bubbles. Then cool it to room temperature for 90 minutes and then place it in water bath for 90 minutes. Then place the container in the penetration machine. Adjust the needle to make contact with the surface of the sample. Make dial reading 0 and release the needle for exactly 5 seconds. And note down the penetration value of the needle for that 5 seconds. Just repeat the procedure thrice and note down the average value. Softening point test on bitumen. Softening point of bitumen indicates the point at which bitumen attains a particular degree of softening under specified conditions of the test. Take small amount of bitumen sample and heat it up to 75 to 100 degrees centigrade. Ring and ball apparatus is used to conduct this test. Heat the rings and apply glycerin to prevent from sticking. Fill this ring with bitumen and remove the excess material with hot sharp knife. Assemble the apparatus parts. Balls are arranged in guided position, that is on the top of the bitumen sample, and fill the beaker with boiled distilled water. Then apply temperature at 5 degrees centigrade per minute. At certain temperature, bitumen softens and ball slowly moves downwards and touches the bottom plate. This point is noted as softening point. Specific gravity test on bitumen. The specific gravity of bitumen is the ratio of mass of given volume of bitumen to the mass of equal volume of water at specified temperature. Specific gravity is the good indicator of quality of binder. It can be determined by the pycnometer method. In this method, take clean and dry specific gravity bottle and take its weight W1. In the second case, fill the bottle with distilled water and dip it in water bath for 30 minutes and note down the weight as W2. Next, fill half the bottle with bitumen sample and weigh it W3. Finally, fill the bottle with half water and half portion of bitumen and weigh it W4. Now we can find out the specific gravity from the formula. Specific gravity is equal to W3 minus W1 whole divided by W2 minus W1 minus W4 minus W3. Viscosity test on bitumen. Viscosity is the property of bitumen which influences the ability of bitumen to spread, penetrate into the voids and also coat the aggregates. That is, it influences the fluid property of bitumen. If viscosity of bitumen is higher, compactive effort of bitumen reduces and heterogeneous mixture arises. If viscosity is lower, then it will lubricate the aggregate particles. Viscosity is determined by using tar viscometer. The viscosity of bitumen is expressed in seconds, is the time required for the 50 ml bitumen sample to pass through the orifice of a cup under standard conditions of test at specified temperature. Water content test on bitumen. When bitumen is heated above the boiling point of water, sometimes foaming of bitumen occurs. To prevent this, bitumen should have minimum water content in it. Water content in bitumen is